because you're going to go
Okay,
for it.
can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. So I was going to just share about what Patrick had said about tithing because I had stopped tithing several years ago and now I just give. And it just changed me so much. I just had got so much freedom and I give more. And there's just so much joy in the giving. And I was sharing with them how, I'll just give in unusual places or unique places. It's not always to a ministry, but like at a restaurant, I'll tip more than what my bill was. And it just, it's because that person that is serving us is also in seamless union. They just may not know it yet. But, I just love to do that. And there was something else I said about that, about the tithing. Um, but that was mainly it, how, it just gives me so much joy and there's just so much freedom to just be able to give now and to just give cheerfully. Oh, and I know I had said something about, one of our brothers and he had posted something on Facebook and, it was about credit cards. You know how credit cards will the companies will contact you and they'll say, if you give, I mean, if you not give, I've got giving on my mind now. If you introduce somebody to our credit card, we'll give you an award. It could be, money or whatever. And so I wrote, and he said it was like every person that will get the credit card, I'll get $50. And I just wrote back and said, how about I just give you $50? And, it would just, and I would really do it. I just love to give now, but tithing, it was so much pressure. It was such a weight, oh, I have to do this. And, it's God will bless you. And whenever something was going bad, people would say things like, are you tithing? Did you tithe? And I wanted to slap people when they said things like that, but I'm a good Christian girl, so I never slapped anybody. I just thought about it. Anyway, that's what I wanted to share about the tithing and how it changed my life. The end.
Good job. Next, who would like to go next?
Tim.
Tim.
Hi. Yeah, the woman that gave, and when Patrick made a point of saying what she gave, and that she was moved by the Spirit of God, there have been times uh, in our life, my wife's and I's life, he just a few years ago, we were moved by the Spirit of God to turn the car around and go pick up a family that was out by the roadside of all places, outside of a convenience store. And long story short, we found out that there was a domestic abuse going on. The children needed feeding. We got them pizzas. We made sure that they had clean clothes and a place to sleep that night. And then found out that she needed to get to her sisters. So sent them on a bus. And then 3 or 4 years later, found out somehow my wife and I were sitting in a church. We were still attending at the time, but somebody tapped me on the shoulder and said, are you Tim Fox? And I said, yes. And it's my wife, Melinda. And the man says, I want to thank you for taking care of my family.
That's so cool. That's awesome.
See, you don't know. You don't know until you just listen to the small voice that says, there is someone that needs help. Someone. It could be, that's amazing. And as far as I know, the family got back together and the children were safe and all of that. The point is that God was making a point in our lives to tell us, you don't need to tithe and put it into a local
Right.
quote church building, in order to feel like you're participating. You participate in my kingdom when you give to me. And who he was at that time was the mom and the children. But when we say yes to the Spirit of God, then we are participating in the kingdom, and the giving does come back to us. It blesses us in supernatural ways. So I just wanted to share that.
Thank you, Tim.
And think about it, a thank you and knowing everything turned out is way better than any financial award you could ever got.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That sounded like God saying thank you, Tim. That woman, could tap you and say that. To me, that's God saying thank you.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
Does anybody have anything else that stood out to them? Joni.
She was a widow, and the Lord took me immediately to the widow in the Old Testament. All she had left was one meal for her and her son, and that was it. And yet that's who the Lord used, and that was the supply. She had just a last meal, but the Lord had a supply. And so it depends on how we look at things. Are we truly tapped into the source? And Judy brought that up too, and we both latched on to that about living from the source. And so it may look like nothing, but if it's coming out of the source, it's unending. And so I just love being in the source. And the other thing, her being a widow, he says, I'm a father to the fatherless, I'm a husband to the widow. And hey, I know who I'm married to. So I got Jesus is a true husband. And so there are no widows and there are no orphans because they have a father and we have a husband.
Excelente, Joan.
Mhm.
Thank you for sharing. That's awesome. Anybody else? Do. Okay, beautiful Christy. You're muted, Christy.
It didn't want to come unmuted. It didn't want me to talk. Look, I was just sort of thinking, I mean, as far as giving is concerned, and giving with a pure heart, I'll just have to say that this Mirror Word Bible study has been just a really wonderful example of that. So I just want to say thank you to you and Patrick for opening it up for us and to opening up God's love to us in such a way that we could never even possibly imagine how it would change our hearts, how it would change our lives. And when you look now at all the people here, I mean, there is such a seamless union between us. It doesn't really matter what group we get, we end up in. There's always a sense of unity and things that we can share together that bless each other. So I just want to say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks accepted.
And the funny thing, I was talking to someone today, called me, and I said, we get so much more than money or anything else from this. This just overflows to us. It brings us the greatest joy in our lives.
And plus, watching people's lives change, I mean, wow. And you get to participate with God, watching that, just speaking that word and watching that word transform people. It is, what can you say? I mean, when I think back at some of the people that have been through here and see their lives, it's like, I just go, wow. It's
wow.
amazing. I mean, like I said, you either spell his name F-U-N or W-O-W. Thank you, Christy. That was
thank
very
you,
nice.
Christy.
I appreciate that.
And anybody else like to share? I don't know. She might be. There she goes, Teresa.
Hey, I just was sharing a testimony of, of God's provision. And I was sharing in the group that as a child growing up, finances is hard, you don't hardly have anything. You grow up, you work hard, and somewhere there's an innate fear in you that you're going to lose everything that you have ever worked for. And we're going to have those ties and those bounds that could inhibit us from giving. I know for me going through, Abraham, his faith, it was his faith toward God, not his faith for me. And I think we have to find that place in our heart. Not only that, but in every little thing, what is it God's telling me to do? What is God asking me to do? Because anything other than that is a law. But what is God asking of me? But for me, knowing that I got laid off a year ago and thinking, oh my God, I know I'm qualified for these jobs, but so many have just closed the door. I've had people hang up on me, all kinds of things. And I felt God, as much as I didn't want to go down the business road again of what I was a dog trainer and I had my own kennel. And I didn't really want to go that way. But I kept feeling God lead me time and time again, just putting things in my path, world trainers and everything, just everything that I've gone. So I've, restarted my business or kicking it back off, got all my cards, my shirts, so forth and so on. But I got to the place where I was struggling and God kept saying, I have made provision for you over and over and over again. But at times I would have meltdowns and I'd find that fear sticking inside of me. And one day in church, we were singing a song that Step Out on the Water. And I literally felt inside of me, God say, take everything you have, all of your savings and everything, and give it. Let go of it all. So in my being, I was stepping out on the water. A couple of days later, I told Ty, because I had continued pondering it. And Ty himself said, okay, we'll let that simmer there. I'm like, okay. And then he said, how about we do this? How about you get a job and then we'll give everything away? I'm like, I think that's backwards, but I felt relieved in my heart. I handed it off to him. And I felt so relieved in my heart. And it was after then that the fears of losing everything, even if we did it, it's okay. But I felt this business began to move. And over, I kept hearing God, you charge whatever you want to charge because I'm going to bless you over and over. And as much as I didn't want a kennel, I saw it come before me. And I thought, dang, I'm going to ride down there and see what's going on with this kennel. And it was permanently closed and up for sale. And I told the lady, I said, I'm going to come down here tomorrow, and talk to these people. But regardless of whether we do that or not, if it's God, it will. If it's not, it won't. But it was eye-opening to me. And because I know I'm talented and skilled in that area as well. And I enjoy doing that more than I enjoy building and developing programs and stuff. And in my spirit, I kept feeling the river. And I saw the Lord say, the rivers are going to bind together. The river of your business and the river of the ministry, they're going to become one, that you can go and do, and that you minister to so many people just in the business, And so I was excited because it relieved it broke that fear of losing everything to when I'm like, God, you're my source. You're really my true source. And now I can rest, I can rest in you. And that was life-changing. As we're continuing to move forward in that, just waiting to see, okay, God, which way? And he's like, every step, I'll lead you. Every step, just take everyone in front of you. And that's what I've chosen to do. And I just keep following. And I know that he's blessing above and beyond. So I'm excited. So that was kind of my takeaway. It's a different mindset.
Amen.
That was awesome. Just so you know, I forgot that you're a dog trainer. So when I see you in Destin, if you give me a treat, I will sit and shake your hand.
Gotcha.
Thank you, Teresa.
Gotcha.
That was an awesome
That was
testimony.
great.
Okay, Brian.
So Patrick, it's a good thing that your musical taste is your redeeming quality, because your humor is just a touch dry, just a touch. So as Teresa was talking, you know, we are all so passionate about this truth and about this walk. And as we are walking with people into this truth, I don't want to say encourage, but let's just be aware that some of them aren't going to get it. So they're going to have the Teresa things where the anxiety hits and the fear hits, and just make sure that we treat them with love and compassion and grace, and walk them through this. And even if it's, you know, they believe in divine health, they believe in immortality, but they're taking allergy medication. Well, that's okay. That's where their faith is. We're going to love them and give them grace to you know, to continue to improve. But so anyway, I just wanted to, you know, kind of throw that out there. I shared it last night at a different group. But you know, we are so passionate to see people lighten, their lights come on, like Patrick said earlier, their eyes, you know, all of a sudden it's like an aha moment. And it's so powerful. So let's just make sure that we're walking in grace and love with all these people as they're entering this journey.
That's awesome. That's a great reminder. It's all about love. Okay, beautiful June.
I just wanted to encourage Teresa. I don't have a dog, but I know people that do, and it's that their dog is their family, their life. And that is just touches me. That's such a ministry, Teresa, because God is wanting to touch those people. They love that animal. And how much does God want to bless them? And you're giving them peace and safety for that animal that they love. You're giving them safety. That is such a blessed ministry. I just want you to know that. I mean, that's a ministry.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I would have people leave me crying because I could transform their dog, and they felt safe. And my business name is Paws of Love.
Oh,
And yeah, I had changed the name from the other one, but I felt that in my heart. I mean, even one of the programs, it's set up with a world champion of over 30 champions, world and national championships in agility. So I follow her program, and it does certifications, all the behaviors that I wanted. I didn't know that come through her program that they certify you through that, which gets all the doctorates behind your name and all the trainings. And so I went to take the class, and I was paying for it, and I couldn't get, it was like $1,000 just to get in for a year, and I couldn't get the card to go through. And I emailed, and they said, oh, you get it for $194. I'm like,
what?
Okay. And so massive amounts of training just around the world. And just like in this, I mean, it's just setting up with 3 world champions the other day, just drinking in their knowledge and master classes. It's so, I'm so excited for my little dog, Kaya. And because she'll get excited, she's going to get some manners, but she'll get excited. So, you know, I'm excited to see. I haven't told Ty the kennel thing. I went down there, but it's only about 10 miles from where I live. But anyway, I appreciate that. June, appreciate those words.
Great.
Good.
Rachel the Cannon.
Well, I wanted to tag on to what Christy said too. I agree with Christy. I know we all do wholeheartedly. Thank you guys so much for doing this. I'm a life that's changed. I mean, you guys have changed my life. You two are game changers. Okay, but here's what I wanted to say too. In 21:8, where you talked about Hebrews 13:9, I just kind of wanted to repeat this. Feast on grace. Do not dilute your diet with legalism. There is no nourishment left in the law. Okay, I love that part. And then on the next page where it talks about our conscious abiding, right? This undisturbed abiding in seamless union. And then how it talks about we're under the influence of oneness. Whoa, dude. Whoa, we're under the influence of oneness. And I started thinking about that song that we sang and we got hooked on it the last time we all met together. And I would find myself singing it like it was constantly playing in my mind. And it was standing under the influence of grace, Meg. And the way Patrick would say it, everybody would be belting it out. Mega, mega, mega grace, super abounding grace. But we're standing under the influence. We're under the influence of oneness 24/7. And this is how we take ownership of our thoughts. And it's that easy. Imagine it's like having a little swig every once in a while, right? Where you just, ooh, we're one. Yay. That's it.
Mega, mega, mega grace.
That's a God. I love that song.
I know, that's so good. That is so good. Well, it was a wonderful night. We had a lot of great comments, and thank you guys. I was thinking, June, maybe your granddaughter could get Teresa out there to meet her puppy. Well, that's now it's trained.
We'll do it on Zoom.
She needs it.
We'll train on Zoom.
Oh, I gotta turn off the stop.